Hello, everybody. This is podcast 94 of the Overkill Podcast. I am one of your hosties, Iron Meta Frankie, and I'm here with my co host.
Kirby DK10 baby. Yeah.
Yes, and we do appreciate. We saw the last episode did pretty well, so it seems like the new format's paying off. And we're going to continue that trend today, hopefully, with me breathing less into the microphone. That would be a step up, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'm still not used to hearing my own voice, so every time I go back and listen to one of those episodes, it's always painful for me. Anyways, I
Yeah.
guess we can get started. This episode is going to be all about the Switch 2. I A lot of our older episodes, since the Switch 2 came out, you would hear me say, "Oh, I'm gonna get one. Oh, I'm gonna get one." Uh, and I'd say like, "Oh, in July I'm gonna get one." Well, I went and looked in July. No Switch 2s. I went, I looked, I checked again in like September. No Switch 2s everywhere I went. I did find one time, but I wasn't willing to spend the money on it yet. But we finally have one. This is week 2 for me, and I think you've had one since launch. So we do have some thoughts, and I have some thoughts, mostly because the Switch 2 is essentially that. It is the Switch with some upgraded features. I don't know if, you know, it's really anything innovative. It's nice. It feels premium, but I mean, it's basically a Switch One that runs a little better.
Yeah. For me, I would say it's one thing that was really big for me is um just the overall console's a little bit bigger, and it also just has that more professional look to it, even though it still has that like Nintendo, like the red and blue on the Joy Cons and stuff like that. I feel like it's a lot more like muted on the colors and whatnot. It doesn't feel as, I don't know, like childish, I guess. Um, but yeah, I mean, one thing is that I will say is I have been impressed by most of the games that have come out on it. Mario Kart World was a pretty good one. Um, I've been I haven't really played it in a long while, but it was one of those games where it's like finally we got a new Mario Kart after waiting for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
And then Donkey Kong Bonanza. I know I've played it and I've beaten it, and to me it just felt like basically like more Mario Odyssey. To me, it felt very similar to Odyssey, except obviously with the destruction mechanics and all that. So it's a little different, but you could definitely tell it was made by the same people.
Yeah, I don't know if the same Nintendo team actually worked on it or not, but it definitely
They did.
feels they
It's
did. Okay.
Yeah,
It feels like you're playing Odyssey, but with Donkey Kong. And I have to say, I guess we'll cover Odyssey. I have to say, Odyssey was not one of my favorite games on the Switch, and I know that's a hot opinion. I don't know. Maybe it's like the fact I like the N64 Mario so much, but Odyssey was like a fun game for like the first. I think it took me 6.5 hours to beat, and I really enjoyed it for like the first three. And then by the latter half, I was really just trying to get through it. But I know that's not the case for a lot of people. And I will say I do prefer the Donkey Kong version because it's not as much. It's not as much like horizontal movement as far as I can tell, and it's not. It doesn't require like as many button inputs and like precise inputs, so that could be part of it too for me. But yeah, I mean, I really am enjoying Bonanza. But you can. It's basically, yeah, Mario Odyssey, but Donkey Kong.
yeah. I felt I do think Bonanza is a little bit better than Odyssey in one way, and that is like in Odyssey it felt like you're collecting like thousands of obviously not thousands of moons per second, but it felt like you were collecting so many so quickly. Um, and then, like, they were basically just pointless for the most part, collectibles. Whereas in Bonanza, every time you collect, there's a lot of bananas, but every time you collect one of them, or Bonandium gems, whatever you want to call them,
Right.
you collect a ton of them, but they actually allow you to get like upgrades and whatnot. So you actually feel like, okay, I should be collecting these things, and they feel. I believe they are. Most of them are pretty much optional, but there are obviously ones that are like right in the pathway, and it's like, why would you not get that one? You know what I mean? So, for the most part, they're not. They're technically not required, but it's nice to have them. And I feel like that's one thing they could have done with Odyssey is maybe you could get different power ups, um, based off of how many moons you collected. But in that game, the power ups were more like the enemies you could capture. So I guess I could see why
Yeah.
they wouldn't do
Or it
that.
would have
But
been cool if like they gave you something like maybe you could play as Luigi after you collect them all or collect a certain amount. I don't. I mean, I know it's Mario Odyssey, but it can't be that hard to switch the model out. But I also too
yeah,
they never really let you skip the moon animation, and that is one thing that always drove me nuts because whenever I see one of those moons, I had like an OCD urge to go collect it, and then sometimes they were so close together, they were literally like 30 seconds to a minute apart, some of them. And so, like, you would just be watching this animation like three times over the course of like 3 minutes or something. And by the end,
yeah,
I was really kind of over it. But I will say, like, the worlds were fun. They were creative. Like, the whole hat throwing mechanic was fun. And I guess some of the parallels with DK with Bonanza is, you still get to run around. You still have a lot of that movement. You still get like roll mechanics and attack mechanics, but also you get a lot of abilities to, smash through different stuff. It just feels a little bit more. I don't know. Like it feels like it has a little more depth, but I'm not. I haven't beaten it yet, so.
yeah. I don't know exactly what how we're feeling about this, but I do know that Donkey Kong Bonanza is a nominee for Game of the Year. Um, there are also other games that came out like Doom, The Dark Ages, Hollow Knight, Death Stranding 2, Split Fiction, and Expedition 33. Honestly, I think Game of the Year for me is either Silksong or Bonanza. Those are kind of my two picks.
I would
Um,
agree.
and it's not like a thing where it's like, oh, I spent all this time in Bonanza and I did all these things. I basically, the thing is like with Mario Odyssey is I collected all the moons. I did everything in that game, and I feel like that really burned me out of the game. Whereas, so I knew like going into Bonanza, I was like, I'm not gonna do all that stuff. So I just basically beat the game. And it's your standard like Nintendo story. It's nothing crazy, but yeah, it's a like great gameplay wise, it's a great game, but yeah,
I think too if you're looking to pick up a Switch 2, I would say definitely look at a lot of the Switch 1 games, especially. But I think if you really want to Switch 2 game, I think you should go with Bonanza, especially if you're a single player guy. If you're multiplayer, you could go with Mario Kart, but I really do think Bonanza is the choice. Um, it's just a lot of fun, and it's just kind of a veg out, and I don't think you have to think too much while playing it, so you can kind of get in that flow state.
yeah.
Am I crazy on that?
Now,
And I guess too, like another thing is a lot of the games on the Switch 2 does not have a large library right now. It does have games like Cyberpunk and stuff, but I have to say I've been looking at games like Cyberpunk on the Switch, and maybe it's just because we're PC elitist, but I Have not enjoyed what I've seen. It runs at like 40 frames on a TV, and handheld it runs like at stable 60. Obviously, it doesn't look very good, but I think your like first party games, I think you're really going to find a lot with the Switch One library. Smash Bros, especially the Zelda games. Uh, I think the Zelda Breath of the Wild is like in my top three games list for sure. So if you have a Switch One and you get a Switch Two, I do think it's nice to get this whole backlog of games, and you're basically just upgrading your Switch One experience. I don't know if there's even a point to having a Switch One if you have a Switch Two, but I think the backlog in Switch One is what makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, most of the games that I've played on my Switch 2 have been Switch 1 games, just because I did have a massive backlog of games that I've like bought and just never beaten or played very much of. Um, and that is one thing too, is I don't know if I kind of wanted to add this to the docket here, but because I just remembered this, but there's kind of this interesting discussion, speaking of a Switch 1 game. So Smash Bros. Ultimate came out in 2018, and people are expecting there to be, within the next couple of months, either an announcement of the new Smash game or just a direct port or like a Switch 2 upgrade to Ultimate.
Interesting.
And I'm wondering, are we thinking they're going to have a brand new game, or are we thinking it's just going to be Ultimate Switch 2 edition?
Well, from what I've heard, Nintendo has said that they're done with the upgrades. Although they said that before they announced the Animal Crossing upgrade. So I don't know if that means they're just done developing them or if they're done actually publishing them. I think most people would be really disappointed with this, just a Switch 2 upgrade. It's one of the reasons I'm kind of sad about Animal Crossing, actually, is because most people wanted a new game. And instead, we're just kind of getting this $5 DLC for a game that everyone poured a ton of hours in during the little pandy there. So I'm thinking for Smash, I actually do think we're gonna get a new title. It moves consoles, it moves sales. Animal Crossing did that too, but I think a game like Smash Bros is one that is like an essential game for everybody. Like there are very few times where like you bought a Switch One and didn't get Smash Bros. Or GameCube and didn't get Smash Bros. Um, Even like Wii, all those other ones that it's been released on. I think it's just one of those games that moves so many consoles. I really think you have to have one. But maybe I'm crazy for that. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it would be disappointing if we don't get another Animal Crossing game, but I don't know. I think the Switch 2 edition for New Horizons doesn't rule out the fact that we could still get one later down the line, because with Animal Crossing on the original Switch, it took 3 years after it came out for Animal Crossing, right, to come out on the Switch. So they could just be updating it for now, and then there could still be something developed later on down the line. So I don't rule out the possibility that they could update Smash Ultimate and then come out with another game later on, especially if that game isn't like directly in development right now. And I think I have heard a leak that the next game will basically be, the premise of it will be, everyone is here still, and here's like 20 or whatever, 10 more newcomers or something, and more stages and more stuff. So I feel like that's probably what they're going to do. If anything, is it's basically going to be like how Smash Ultimate was basically Smash for Wii U plus. I feel like that's what they're going to try to do again with the next game, which is going to be Ultimate plus whatever else.
Right.
But who knows?
I mean, I hope. I think a lot of people will be really mad if it's just a update.
Yeah, and I hope one thing too is, and this might be something that we could also talk about in a different episode, but I think I would like to see like the characters get halved maybe, and then the older characters like Donkey Kong who haven't had their moveset ever updated, or like Ganondorf, people like characters who need to get their movesets updated, they finally get like a new moveset with more mechanics, because like the new characters in Smash always have like these crazy mechanics and these crazy things that didn't, where like the older characters just had like moves where it was like punch, you know what I mean? Where it's just that was like their only move.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like now it's like you have characters that, but basically whenever they get like Arsene, for instance, on Joker, he literally just like changes his whole game plan. Right.
I would like to see something like that too. I think part of the reason they've never done it is because they tend to let that be like the base roster of like characters you first get when you start playing. And I think there will always be simple characters. Like I don't think they'd ever change Mario, or like Kirby. I think is another one they wouldn't change. Maybe they give him like more swallow abilities or something. I don't know, or different ones. But I think there'll always be simple characters. It would be nice to get some upgrades on some older characters, especially as a Donkey Kong main. I can confirm it would be nice. Just to have something, a little bit more variety. Like maybe I've always thought it'd be cool if they had like an actual grappling mechanic, not like a full system, but since Donkey Kong's a kind of a grappler-ish character, I think it'd be cool to have like a mechanic where you can, grapple and then do like a throw and then re-grapple, and then like that's like just add a little mini combos, nothing crazy, but just like little quality of life improvements or like interesting gameplay like that. And I think you could do the same thing with like characters like Fox, and even Falco, of just giving them something a little more spicy. Captain Falcon
Yeah.
is a good one too. Maybe give him something. At least a new
Yeah,
move
like
or like a new mechanic. I don't know.
yeah, so I think for me, like one of the characters that I always think of is like Ganondorf, just basically being a Captain Falcon clone. Well, I can't speak. And I think one thing that they could do is they could have an Echo Fighter of Falcon be Black Shadow, and then he would take over Ganondorf's moveset that he has now, and Ganondorf will finally be able to have like his own origin, like moveset that actually references the games that he's in, instead of just being a clone
One it
of
was
Falcon.
it was really shocking with the like Zelda games that came out on the Wii U and Switch that Ganondorf just ended up being essentially the same character he's always been, or like just Falcon, right? So it was a little shocking, especially with all of his cool abilities in the more recent titles, which seems to be their MO. I do imagine this is something interesting too. I think characters like Donkey Kong are actually going to get a makeover. And I don't know if you agree or not, but I think Donkey Kong's probably going to get his Bonanza version put into the game.
Yeah,
And I think Mario might even get, maybe not the Odyssey version, but I think he'd definitely get that kind of claymation style in the game as well. And they probably would do that with characters like Luigi and stuff too, if they're going to do it for those. But
yeah, I think they'll look a lot more like the like Mario movie characters, right? Like that's what Donkey Kong
mm-hmm.
looked like in Bonanza, and I feel like they're gonna kind of try to keep all of their stuff sort of in that similar art style.
Yeah, which would be a little sad for me because I do like how Donkey Kong reminds me of like brutalist games from like 2010, of like Skate or like Skate 2 or like even just Brawl, where it has like he's kind of dark, he's got like these sharp edges and stuff. And a lot of the older characters are like that, like well, obviously characters like Ganondorf and stuff, but even like Pichu kind of looks really wonky. He doesn't really look super cute. He's got like sharp edges and everything. So I don't know. Maybe they'll redo some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm on something though. Maybe I'm on something. Um. All right. Well, I guess we should talk about this too while we're here. This happened to us both. So I don't think we've ever even covered this, but my Switch I didn't use it a ton after like the first 4 years I had it, 4 or 5, and I actually ended up selling it to Kirby here for real cheap, just because I wanted a little cash and he wanted to collect it. And it was actually the Smash Bros. Version of the Switch, which I thought was pretty sick. The issue, though, is if you get rid of your Switch before getting a Switch 2 and you don't have the Switch Online, there's no way to transfer your save data over. And I tried to go back to the Switch 1. I went and grabbed it from him one day and tried to do that. And it basically told me I don't own the Switch anymore. Um, so there's no point. So I lost all of my save data for every game that I ever played. I don't have anyone in Smash. I don't have. My Animal Crossing town is lost, which I'm kind of sad about. I'm not going to lie. And because I had it situated like perfectly how I wanted. And then, yeah, I know for like a lot of people, it's not a big deal. Like, I know a lot of people have made like, 10 Animal Crossing towns or 8 Animal Crossing towns or whatever. And that's cool, but it's definitely not what I wanted to do. I guess to look on the bright side, I can finally play Zelda again and then play the new one back to back, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I don't know. I know Kirby here is kind of over it because essentially he lost his data as well.
Oh yeah, I lost my 100% Mario Odyssey playthrough, which I mean I don't really care about either. I could, I mean, once you play a game like that, like all the way to completion, there's no point playing it ever again, kind of a deal. I did restart a playthrough of Odyssey, and I never finished that either. And then also Breath of the Wild, I had 100%.
That one is tough.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, yeah, my Animal Crossing town was not developed as much as I would have liked to have it. Yeah, I mean, losing for me, I'm not too big of a. I don't hold on to my save data, anyways, that well.
I mean,
So I'm used to like losing it.
well, I mean, that's fair, I guess. It's not like I'm choking up about it. It's just more like I'm kind of one of those people. I really like to boot up a game like Animal Crossing and be like, wow, this is what I did like 5 years ago, and I think that's really sick. I feel like a game like Animal Crossing, I'm debating on going back and doing it all again, but I think I'm kind of over it. So like, it's fine. It's just a little unfortunate that um, I don't know. It's just a little unfortunate that I have to go back and do all that work because before I could just make a new profile and start the game, or make a new save and start the game. So it's kind of sucks. That's what we get, I guess, for not paying for online though all the time. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I never had it as like a recurring thing or whatever. And to
No.
be honest, like the thing was, towards the end of the Switch One, I did get into Splatoon 3 quite a bit, and that is one game that's always online, so it does save your data to the like Nintendo servers. So that is the only game that actually I've that has data that I've been able to transfer to the Switch 2. Um, but other than that, I mean, yeah, I've lost my Animal Crossing town. Well, because my Switch One actually died. I dropped. Well, I didn't drop it. The cats knocked it over, and the screen doesn't work anymore. Um, so I have to figure out what to do with that. But
Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah, I
kind of
lost.
cooked. I don't know if it's really worth having it fixed. But
Yeah, I lost everything, uh, which is annoying.
oh,
That's why I've kept my Switch 2 in good condition. I've kept it out of the way of my cats.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, and that's another thing I want to talk about too, actually, is the Switch 2 is super nice. It has this nice matte finish. It's got solid plastic. It really does feel like a premium product. Like, it does feel like a Steam Deck or I don't know about the ROG Ally or whatever. Actually, I do. I touched one at Best Buy. It has that nice premium plastic that all these other products have. And as far as like getting it for a kid, I don't really know if the Switch 2 is made for children. It just feels so nice. Like, I think I think honestly, if they're young enough, I think you're better off just getting them like the Switch Lite or the original Switch. I mean, you could do the OLED or whatever, but like I don't know, the Switch 2 just feels really, really premium. It feels so nice. I'm afraid to drop it at any point because it just, I don't know, like it just has this quality to it.
Yeah, but I do think it does lose a little bit of that like Nintendo magic where it feels like it's it feels like it's kind of a product made by a corporation, whereas like the other Nintendo consoles, they had like their own little charm about them, like the Joy Cons having the
Mm.
different colors on the Switch One, whereas like the Switch Two, they haven't really done that yet, where like the Joy Cons have different colors for the like on the rings of
Yeah,
the joysticks or whatever.
it feels like
It,
the other ones felt like a
but
toy.
Yeah, but to be honest, I actually did like my original Switch was had just gray Joy Cons, and I actually did like it just having that kind of blank look to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and I had the Smash Bros. Version, which was basically the gray Joy Cons, but it just has the black stripe going down one of them. It has a Smash Ball on them, and then it has the black stripe going horizontally across both. So I really did like. I think as you get older, I think you appreciate things that are less colorful and obnoxious. But I do suspect at some point they will be adding different color Joy Cons and everything. I imagine they'll actually change This is my hottest prediction. They'll probably change the plastic color and the ring and inner color. That way they can do the dual colors like they did before. So like if it's Splatoon, maybe we'll get another pink and green or like a blue and pink or something. And they'll probably do like the plastic blue and the little accents pink, or they'll do like one. I doubt they'll do alternating, but maybe one will be blue, one will be pink, and then the buttons will be flip flopped on them or whatever, the rings. But that's.
I looked it up.
Uh
I looked up white Switch Two.
huh.
It does look pretty clean.
Are they.
Not gonna
Has that been
lie.
announced already, or is that just something someone made?
Oh, this is just like concept. I think. Oh, you can buy like a sticker pack that, or yeah, you can
That.
like put skins on your Switch
Ooh, that would
Two, I guess.
be. That would be dirty. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, they did it. They gave it like the OLED treatment. That
Yeah,
does look
I do
sick.
think there will be. There's definitely going to be different bundles, and one of them's going to make the Switch white, which is. I think it'll probably be like the Animal Crossing. The Switch One Animal Crossing bundle was pretty nice looking.
I guess we do have some games to cover, but I guess to wrap this up, like I really do like the Switch 2 more. Do I like it more than the Switch 1? I don't think it has the same like novelty. It's basically the same console, just better. But I do like it in the fact that like I can run things that I really want to run. I'm probably I have Hollow Knight on PC. I'll probably get Silk Song and Hollow Knight on both PC and the Switch because I just love those games so much. It also has I can play games like A Hat in Time anywhere I want, which as an adult becomes less important, I think, because usually when you leave the house, you have a purpose. You're going somewhere to do something. You're not going somewhere to play your video games. But it is nice to just throw it in my backpack before I go to work. Probably get a slimmer case, but just throw it in your backpack, go to work. If you want to during your break or whatever, or even after work, like I've played like a short game of Doom. I've done like a level or whatever, so it's pretty cool. Um, yeah, I say it's definitely a worthwhile console as far as like how much entertainment you can get out of it, and I really do want to stress this. I love the way it feels. I think it feels so nice. But yeah, I guess that's enough glazing. Um,
Yeah, I guess do we want to talk about like the game voucher system? Um,
I
this is something
do.
that they introduced with the Switch One, and you can get quite a bit of games, and it's a way to kind of save a little bit of money on your games. And basically, what it is if you buy two games, you basically both games will have $10 off taken
Mhm.
off of them. So, for instance, you could get like Mario and Luigi Brothership and
Oh, did you look them up? Yeah.
Mario Wonder, both games that are eligible for a voucher. And instead of being charged 120 for both, you'll be charged 100, which is a nice way to get multiple games for a little bit cheaper, which is
Yeah.
always something I enjoy.
And I think there's, I didn't know this system existed, but I think there's a lot of value in, let's say you've never played the Zelda games. You can pick up Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for $50, and then if you want, you can buy the $10 upgrades for both, or if you have the online, the Switch, I think the fancy edition, you get that upgrade with your subscription, which I mean is cheaper than what they're going for now because Breath of the Wild is 60 and Tears is 70, so you're getting them both for 50. That's $30 saved, and then you can buy the upgrades for 20. So you save like 10, $20 or whatever with tax. There's a lot of good games on here. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, I think it's worth jumping on this program before January 31st when they're taking it away, because there are just there's so many games on here you can get. There's the Fire Emblem game. There's the Dragon Quest Builders, which I know people like. Advanced Wars. I mean, these aren't even like Nintendo titles, really.
Yeah.
There's also Hyrule Warriors.
I think you have to have Switch Online though to get this voucher thing. Though.
You do. You need the cheap version to get it. And they actually have a trial, so if you're not a big, if you don't ever want Switch Online, you can always get the trial and then buy your games and then let it expire or whatever. They also have a monthly sub too, which I learned, but it's almost twice as expensive as just doing the yearly payment. So, yeah. Also, a game I learned existed today was Mario vs. Donkey Kong. I never knew they made a follow-up to that game. I had it on Game Boy or DS, and it was a blast. So. But yeah, there's a lot of good games in this program. I think you should jump on it if you don't have a lot of games or if you're just getting a Switch 2 now.
Yeah. I don't know if you can do multiple voucher things, but I was considering. I knew I always wanted to get
each one.
Donkey Kong Country HD.
Oh.
Which I did end up getting, but I was debating between Pokemon Violet or Skyward Sword, and I just went with Skyward Sword.
Actually, I think you're right.
I never played that, and I wanted to try it. And honestly, I know I'm not gonna like Pokemon.
No. Every Pokemon game we've ever bought, I go trade mine in at GameStop for money because no one else wants them, but also like I don't care. Okay, so apparently you can buy the vouchers multiple times. Your account is capped at 8 active vouchers. So yeah, if you wanted to clear out the whole library of games, you could. It would be really expensive, but you could. But it's not a horrible deal, honestly. This is something I'm looking into, especially after I pass my test here in a couple weeks. So this will be good for me. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out and remind everyone. And avoid Mario Golf. It's not good. Okay.
Base.
I had to throw that in there.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess since we kind of mentioned Pokemon, we can. We'll talk about the most recent game, which was Pokemon A to Z or AZ.
AZ.
And this is a Pokemon game. From what I understand, it's basically like a more open world style Pokemon game, and I don't know if like the battles are more like free form. They seem to be, where you basically just walk up, press A on the guy, he throws his Pokemon, you throw yours, and you kind of battle it out in like a little small arena.
Yeah, it's active. It's not turn-based.
Which honestly, I actually might enjoy this one because that's one of the things that I don't like is I do like action RPGs. I played a lot. I really like Kingdom Hearts, so I think For me, I might enjoy it, but
I mean, I agree with you. I think I've seen the combat and it looks fun because we are not really turn-based guys. I mean, I think Pokemon especially just because no offense to the Pokemon people, but you're picking between four abilities and it's really not that difficult to switch out to have a type advantage and stuff. I know you can get really complex and everything, but like I just don't, you know, it's not exciting to be honest. But there is something very exciting about having it be real time.
yeah. One thing too with like most of the Pokemon games, it's like yeah, the typing advantage, whatever, and all that sort of stuff. But most of the time, I'm just picking tackle, or I'm picking the attack.
Yeah.
Whatever the attack my Pokemon has button. You know what I mean? So if it's like a poison type Pokemon, I'm just gonna pick the poison attack or whatever.
Yeah, and I usually try to, I usually set it up to where like the best or whatever move I want to use the most is the first move. So it's literally just spamming a simulator. Um, but I guess what we should cover is the big controversy with this game is that so in the previous Pokemon games, they have done a decent job of transitioning into 3D and also giving like variety to the landscape. Now, Arceus is a game that I bought but I gave back, which is probably a mistake on my end. But Arceus is a game that had open world as well. The textures were 3D. They popped. They kind of had, the mountains kind of had like this variety to them. And then in the big controversy with Z to A is that like for the buildings, it's essentially a big box, and then they've slapped a flat texture on it. And then for the mountains, they've basically given them no. They don't really look super random. And they've basically just copied the flat texture, and then you can tell that they have like one or two texture tiles that they have recopied over and over again. And there's also the problem where you can clip through walls with your camera. And so what people have been doing is they'll go up to a building and they will clip the camera through and they see basically an empty building, or even worse, they'll see like furniture and objects and stuff, but you can never go in the building. Another weird thing is like you can go up to these mountains and you can clip in, and it's like an N64 game where you can see all of these flat walls intersecting, and you can just see through the world. It's kind of janky looking, and I don't remember that being an issue in Shield, which was not fully
No, yeah,
open world, but it was pretty close.
yeah. That was probably the most recent game that I played was Sword, and yeah, Pokemon's always had this weird like flat aesthetic, at least with like the 3D games. Mainly on obviously mainly with like the last generation and this one. I think it was kind of more excusable with like the 3DS and whatnot because it was still handheld and whatnot, whereas like the Switch is like a full console. And I mean, I guess it is a handheld, but you know what I mean. It's like these kind of games to me, they look very amateur for some reason. You can have your Pokemon like destroy rocks that are on these buildings. There's just random rocks on buildings.
I don't know.
I'm watching this game.
So
it looks.
okay.
Oh man.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
the world just looks so bland too.
Something that looks really, really janky to me, and maybe you don't know this, Kirby, but essentially what this world is it's this circular city, and it takes about a minute and a half to run across, but it all takes place in the city. There is like a coastal area, but it's not really that diverse as far as like scenery. And I think the funniest things that you'll find is if you walk up to these stores, let's say there's like a coffee shop or whatever. Well, what they've done is they've stuck the same NPC that's in like what I call an A position. Like if there's a T position, they're in the A position with their hands a little bit off their sides. And you can just buy stuff from them like they're a vendor, and it just kind of floats over to you, and you eat the 2D image and stuff. It looks really, really funny. it's just super jank that, like, in these other Pokemon games you can go in the buildings, you can talk to different NPCs, and in this game everyone is in the same NPC A pose, and the Pokemon just kind of stare off into the distance, also in the same A pose. So I don't know. I'm kind of shocked that they even released this. Just looking at it, I mean, the combat looks fun, and that looks fun, but like just looking at the way they put this game together, I'm really shocked that they thought this was a worthwhile endeavor. And that might have been because they promised Nintendo that they'd get it to run at that 120 frames. And I think these are some of the concessions they made to make it do that.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely. And this game does have a Switch 2 version, correct?
What do you
Where it
mean?
runs like it has it's released on the Switch 1, but it has a Switch 2 version, correct?
It does have a Switch 2 version. Um,
Okay.
and I think that's why it's compromised, is because they kind of tried to do um,
Yeah.
Game Freak, I mean this like very constructively. Game Freak has never been that good at making anything new. To be honest, I think they should just go back to making like 2D Pokemon games and just give up on this. Even like a 2D open world game, I think would be even better than whatever this weird like 3D hybrid they're trying to do. Or they need to like consult with the Zelda team or something, because they are not cooking. I mean, it looks like the combat's
Yeah.
fun, but like, I don't think I could play the game just watching everyone stand in that stupid position. The only thing that can make it worse is if they're T-posing.
Yeah, and there was a guy that I was talking to, and he wasn't like a huge Pokemon fan, I guess, but he enjoys the games or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I don't really enjoy the like games. And he was like, oh, you got to play the older ones. And to a certain extent, I can understand that. Um, I think one thing, at least for me in meta, is like we don't play RPGs and whatnot. It's like even the older ones, while yes, they were better, like I still don't enjoy them.
No, no,
Yeah.
not at all. I mean, I think I am willing to go back and give Black and White a try when I have a chance, because people say those were so good. But I have a feeling it'll just be the same experience of like, I get into Pokemon, I watch these YouTube videos, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Snorlax, how could I forget? And then I get into the game, and I'm like, yeah, it's just better to, watch the anime or just watch from a distance.
Yeah.
That's just
But
how it is.
to me, like graphically, I think the game's peaked with Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, or Ruby and Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're 2D. They're still simplistic, but they're not like crazy 2D sprites. They feel like I think they're 16-bit sort of. They're esque, 16-bit esque. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Well, you know what? This brings an interesting topic. I know we're going really long on this, but so there's this whole idea of like building up the platform of games, and I think this is an issue that we see with. Excuse me, goodness. I think this is an issue with a game like Mario Kart. So you have Mario Kart 8 that's basically been allowed to release content for like 8 years or 10 years or whatever. 10 years because it was on the Wii U.
Yeah.
They develop all this content. It runs really well. It has all these maps, all these characters, all this stuff. And then they go back and they release they release this new one. Well, this new one doesn't have as many characters, doesn't have as many maps. It doesn't like have actual tracks that you can go around multiple times, really. And so like a lot of people are just going back and playing 8, which I think is like valid, but also it's the same game forever, and it's only because they've built up this platform that still runs on the same system. And I think Nintendo has that issue, because like if I wanted to go play a Switch Pokemon game, I would just go play Shield again.
Yeah. Or like the remakes of
Yeah, or just
Diamond
emulate.
and Pearl, or Yeah, what was it? What was it, Scarlet and Violet? Any of the Switch One Pokemon games, you know. So
And that's not to just completely, take the piss out of this game, but I'm just saying, other than the
yeah,
combat, I have been really shocked that they released this. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of ugly. Maybe I'm crazy, but
yeah.
and it looks like it runs
I
at
don't
like
know.
30 frames too, but I'm just kidding. I actually think it runs better than that, but
Yeah. I guess do we want to talk about the game that me and Matt are probably most hyped for? Um, Kirby Air Riders. Baby, it's coming out on the
yes.
20th. We've been shown most of what the game has to offer. It's basically, from what I can tell, it's basically just the sequel to the GameCube game with maybe about the same amount of content. And I think that's perfectly fine because, again, we haven't had a game like this in a while. Um,
Yeah.
it seems to have like that. What is it called? The multiplayer mode where you basically gather up um, different stats and whatnot, and then you have one final battle. It's sort of like Smash Run on the 3DS.
Yeah.
And then you also have your normal traditional just racing, and then free roam as well. So
Free roam,
I don't
let's
know.
go.
So far, game's looking pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've covered it before on the pod, but um, as we've gotten closer to this game's release, and especially seeing this gameplay that I'm kind of playing in the background, I am super impressed. I mean, it even has the same looking symbols as the old game. Like whenever you get off your scooter or whatever, it still has the little scooter icon to let you know where your bike is. It has, it looks like the charge mechanics and even the little meter in the bottom looks really similar to the GameCube one. I'm really hoping this game is a win. I'm really, really hoping this game is a win. This is kind of one of those games that I assumed was dead, kind of like Sonic Riders, or it happens a lot with these weird mascot racing games. I figured it was like a Sonic Riders or just where we'd never, ever, ever get another one. And so I'm super pumped for this. I think you're feeling the same way.
Yeah, pretty much. We haven't had. I'm sure shocked that they even came out with another one. To me, it was the same way with Mario Strikers, where I felt like they would never come out with a new one. And they finally did with the Switch, even though that one wasn't that great. But at least they had a sequel to it. But yeah, I think this might give a little bit of hope to the to the F-Zero fans as well, who haven't had a game since the GameCube as well.
Yeah, I
But
mean, this is crazy. This is I don't know how well the original Air Riders sold. Um, but I think
not that great.
yeah, I think we still have our copy for the GameCube. You do.
Oh, we do.
I think it's really crazy. We might have to dig it out and play it. I'm not even gonna lie. It's really crazy to me that this many years later, we're getting this game that honestly has been collecting shelf dust, even though we played it. I think we put at least 200 hours in it. I think maybe more. It's hard to remember. Just a lot of hours fucking around in free roam mostly, and I think that's what I'm hoping. This game's free roam is really fun too. Although we're a little older now, so it probably won't be as entertaining.
Yeah, I went back and played the free roam. It's not that fun nowadays. But,
Yeah, too old.
I mean, I'm more excited just for the races and the city trial mode and the potential for online racing and whatnot.
Yeah, I think this will be.
I do have the sales numbers
Ooh,
for the
okay.
original. The original sold 1.2 million copies,
Ooh,
and the overall GameCube shipped around 21 or almost 22 million copies. So maybe
okay.
one out of 22 consoles had someone bought.
I feel like
Kirby
that's
or
pretty
so
good.
not horrible. Not horrible for Kirby, which is like more of a side series to the other Nintendo franchises.
Yeah,
So.
I feel like Kirby is one of those games that like a lot of older people remember, due to the original being such a hit. But like as far as being a game where you're like, man, so a lot of people forget that Kirby is even Nintendo sometimes, which is crazy, but it has happened. So yeah. Oh man. Okay. I mean, 1 in 20. 1 in 20 is not bad. That's more than I expected. I expected it to be like 1 in 100 or something like that. But okay, some more people had it than I thought. Sick.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's a spin-off game of. It's not even like a mainline, Kirby game, really.
Oh, and that there's also that Kirby game more recently that came out. Everyone loved. So I know Kirby's been getting a lot of love recently too. You can pick that up with the Switch vouchers as well. I might even pick that up with Switch vouchers. I'm just looking for fun. Here's a. I know I'm yapping and yapping on this. You just gotta shut me up. But I'm telling you, I'm so done with like gaming recently. As far as like AAA series and stuff, I know you're having fun with Battlefield or whatever, but like I'm just tired of these games that are like always online, always got to be playing multiplayer, always got to be like doing something. I'm like, man, I'm looking for these, isolated fun games, and it seems like Nintendo is the only one that's been given a damn about that recently. So it's really cool to see stuff like this, even if it does get multiplayer and everything.
Yeah, well, yeah. To be honest, Battlefield is pretty mid-game. I'm mainly just playing it because I need a shooter game, and it's kind of the hot new thing right now. To be honest, I don't see it really affecting the sales of like Call of Duty or anything like that.
No.
And also like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Nintendo's always had that. They've always had like carved out a unique market for themselves, where at least recently they've focused more on. They've always been focused on single player games, whereas the industry is always moving towards whatever the latest thing is. So I'm glad Nintendo's stuck with their guns on a lot of things.
How many? Yeah. It's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like buying a book, right? Like you can buy a book, but like really, you don't really read books with other people. You can, if you so choose, but like it's kind of like this isolated experience that is just made for you to interact with the medium instead of interact with other people all the time.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because I interact with too many people in real life, which I know is not a common problem, but yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I think that's it for the podcast.
I think that's it.
Sorry if you can hear borking.
Yeah, it's about time. It's been about an hour of silence, though, so that was pretty good. I'm surprised we went this long. Closing thoughts?
Yeah. I don't think I got everything that I wanted to talk about.
I think that's it, man.
Hope you guys enjoyed the pod. It's been your boy, Kirby DK10. Peace.
It's been meta. Bye.